If we can agree that the difference between a lifelong customer and a one-time buyer comes down to how good your email marketing is, then there's only one question that remains. How do you design emails that are impossible to ignore? Most e-com founders in your echelon of revenue are stuck in what we like to call the DIY nightmare. And while you're struggling with a broken backend, the 8-figure e-com whales are building lifelong, compounding assets. So if you've been stuck at the same echelon of revenue for weeks, months, maybe even years, this video is for you. I've spent years studying the retention engines of big-time 8-figure e-com brands like Comfort, Hims, AG1. And when I looked under the hood of their copy, their design, their automation sequences, I realized that they all follow the same exact blueprint. And that same exact blueprint is the reason why we get our clients results like this, and this. In this video, we're gonna hop in a Miro board and break down 5 email campaigns that you need to be sending to your list for your brand right now. Let's get to the video. So the first email that we're gonna be looking at is the educational, value-driven email. And there's a couple reasons why this email is so powerful. The biggest reason is it's really selling the customer without selling the customer. It's not a hard sell. But at the end of the day, if you give information about a product that you're selling to a customer or a product that the customer might already have, then one, it's building that customer trust that you actually want your product to work for them. And if they haven't bought the product yet, then this is a great way to tell them all the things that the product helps with before they buy the product. So it eliminates some of those questions that that customer might have that's preventing them from buying the product. Now for this specific client, we're establishing her as a specialist in this niche, because she is. And so because this specific product is solving a very specific problem, the people that she's selling to are the people that are makeup artists. And so going back to that trust factor, if people know that the person selling the product in that specific niche knows what they're doing, then the customer looking for that specific product, they're gonna have that trust that the person selling it knows what they're doing, and so they're gonna trust that the person selling it actually uses it on their own clients. So whether you're selling permanent makeup tools, supplements, as the founder, you wanna position yourself as an expert in that niche, because that's gonna allow customer trust, and that is one of the most important things in marketing. Now let's say you're an e-com brand that's not necessarily solving a specific problem. Let's say you're an apparel brand. You can still follow the same rule of thumb for your apparel. For example, if you're trying to give information or educating your customer on a certain hoodie you're selling, in the description on your website, you're gonna have information about your product. All you're gonna be doing in this email is portraying that information in a way that isn't salesy. And you're showing the things that make that product unique. You're showing the things that make that product better than the competition that you're competing against. And so if you scroll down a little bit more and we look a little bit more at the email, you'll notice that there are a lot of words here. There's a lot of copy, but the most important things, the 3 rules for speedy, accurate mapping, those are highlighted, those are bolded. Because realistically in 2026, people are not reading the whole email. They're skimming through and hitting the most important parts. So if you're doing this, you can give a lot of information, but make sure you're bolding the most important parts. Because at the end of the day, those important parts are the parts that the customer is going to be seeing. So for example, for this email, we have the 3 rules for speedy, accurate mapping. We have number 1, anchor with a sticker ruler. And then obviously it's a little bit more description if they decide to read it. We have mark your landmarks, same thing. 4-line rule, same thing. And if you scroll down a little bit more, you'll see another bolded part, why your tools matter. It talks a little bit about if you have the best technique in the world, it might not matter if you don't have the right tools. But if they don't read that, no worries, because it gives specific tools that are gonna help them when they're performing this permanent makeup on their clients. And if and when the customer makes it down this entire funnel, they skim through, at the bottom they have a shop essentials. If the education really impacted that customer and answered maybe some of those questions that the customer had that was preventing them from buying, then the button's right there. The button's right there if we did answer those questions. Make it easy. As I said, the main point of this email isn't to convert a sale. It's really just to educate the customer. However, putting a CTA on the email is still a good thing. And even if it's not a shop essentials like we have here, the button could be learn more. And it takes them to the product page where they can see the description of the product and learn more, but you're not asking for a sale. You're just saying, hey, if you want to learn more and get more educated on what this is, click here. So the educational value-driven email is a very valuable tool that everyone should use. We really like to send these emails out at least once a month, but if you're a brand that can afford to send more volume in your emails, send these out multiple times a month, heck, even a couple times a week if you can. But now moving on to the next email, the inventory move / warehouse sale. Now this is a great email for, again, a couple different reasons. If you have stock that you really need to get rid of and they're just sitting in your warehouse, this is a great thing to do. At the end of the day, if they've been sitting in your warehouse for quite some time, that means the sales on it are pretty slow. It's probably not that popular of a product, but we still want to utilize them. Generally, these warehouse sales are going to be a bit of a fatter sale. In this specific situation, for this specific client, we really didn't even have a sale. We really just positioned it that way because we were having more products that were coming in and we wanted to get rid of this inventory. So we sent out one of these emails to see if we can create a little bit of that FOMO that really pushes that customer to buy so that they don't miss out on getting this product before it's gone forever. Now you're gonna notice in this email, we don't really have a whole lot of copy. The only thing that we have is this little paragraph here explaining the purpose of the warehouse sale. And then following that paragraph, we have all of the products. It's really a mini catalog so that the customer doesn't have to go on the store. It's eliminating a whole entire step for that customer. And at the end of the day, if we wanna motivate a customer to make a purchase, having as little friction as possible to get that customer to add to the cart is a great way to do that. So what we did is we just had this catalog on the email so they can scroll through the email, look at all the products that are in the warehouse sale, and if they see something that they like, they'll click on the button. And again, just going back to that point on friction, notice how after every single image, we have a CTA. And that's very important because realistically, if it's a promotional or a sale email, we really want a CTA in each section of the email. In e-commerce, when we talk about designing websites, we talk about something called the fold. And basically all the fold is if you scroll in, and let's say that this section of the email is all that I see on my phone. We have this email right here, right? This right here is the fold. And this, of course, is an email from Calendly. But in this email here, you see they have a CTA here. And even if you scroll down here, look what happens. That CTA is not in the fold. This is considered the fold of your phone. So if I want to take action on a specific thing or a specific product, I have to go back up and click this CTA. However, if you just include a CTA in each section of the email, then you don't have to scroll at all. The CTA is right there, right in front of you, and that adds one less step for the customer. Now look, this might seem pointless or meticulous, but at the end of the day, everything matters. Warehouse sales are great for just pushing products that you want to get rid of. They're also good if you need cash flow, and it's also a great way to create urgency with the customer. So warehouse sale, if at any point you need to get creative instead of just saying, hey, this product's now 10% off, we have a site-wide sale. Instead of just doing that, maybe position it as a warehouse sale or an inventory move. And at the end of the day, you don't want to lie to your customer, right? So if it's really not going to be sold out, if it's really not going to be gone, come up with something else. For example, if it's something that's going out of stock, but it's not going to be gone forever, then you can send an email talking about how a specific product is low on inventory and it's not going to be back in stock for a while. You don't have to get specific with how long it's going to be out of stock. Just say it's going to be out for a while. Even if it comes back in a week, you're not lying. And so that's kind of what we're talking about when we talk about inventory move / warehouse, right? Warehouse, if it's gonna be gone forever or a very long time, use the warehouse. If it's gonna be gone for a very small amount of time, use the low inventory email. Real quick, if you're an e-com brand doing anywhere from $20,000 to $300,000 a month, and you really don't know what in the world's going on with email and SMS marketing, that's what we're here for. Email and SMS marketing, also known as retention marketing, is exactly what we do. We build 100% of the retention marketing backend for you by building a database system that captures new customers and revenue on autopilot for you. We're currently running a limited time promo, a double or nothing guarantee. If we don't at least double what you put in, you get every single penny back. So if that piques your interest at all, go click the link in the description below for a free retention audit. If you're not quite ready for a call, no worries, keep watching, keep learning, use all my knowledge. Let's get back to the video. All right, so next up we have the storytelling email, and this is great for, again, a lot of reasons. And the two most important reasons why this email is a banger is because one, again, trust. It builds customer trust, and we'll explain that in a second. And two, this systematically increases customer lifetime value, or LTV. First, I want to touch on the customer trust point. Especially in 2026, how many times have we heard of AI? Now, I know AI is pretty intelligent and it's rapidly advancing, but let me ask you another question. How many times have you gotten on a call with your doctor's office or dentist office or whatever, and you hear this bot? This bot's walking you through all the steps that you need to do, trying to get you the right answers that you're looking for, but most of the time, it's not what we want at all. And instead of being patient with the robot, we look for the representative or the human connection. And when we get to the human connection point, when we start talking to a real person, our mood changes and our tone changes. All of a sudden, the things that you were saying to that robot over the phone, you can't say to that that human. Well, and the reason why this is because this psychologically, right off the rip, builds an emotional connection with that person. The same is true with your emails. If you're just blasting out sale, 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 a couple of words that don't sound like a human at all, that emotional connection with your brand is going to be lost, and the people aren't even going to care to open it because they don't feel bad for not opening it. And this might sound stupid, but at the end of the day, there's a reason that in sales and marketing, a big thing that people talk about is pain point. And that's exactly what we're trying to achieve with the storytelling emails. We're trying to hit those emotional pain points on these customers. And aside from just that, how many people in 2026 are starting e-com stores? There's quite a bit, especially for this specific client. It's a clothing store. The amount of times I've heard people talk about wanting to start a clothing brand is absurd. It's a surge that's really taken over the internet, and you cannot stand out by just blasting sales and showing off your cool designs. The thing that's going to set you apart from everyone else is your brand voice, your unique brand voice. And so you can see a little bit of that in this email right here, right? There's a difference between a brand that slaps an anime character on a blank hoodie and one that actually puts thought into design, fabric fit, whatever. You bold out the point that it actually means something to us. And this specific clothing brand is niched down to anime, so it talks about JoJo's, Soul Eater, whatever. But the point is this is establishing that emotional connection and pointing out that unique brand voice, that it's not just like every other clothing brand. And so same concept as the educational, value-driven. You don't see the CTA, you see it down here, but that's below all of this because that is not the most important part of the email. We're not trying to sell someone, we're just trying to get that emotional connection and allow that customer trust to be formed. So we know this email helps with trust, we know it helps with the unique brand voice, but we also touched on something, quite possibly the most important metric in all of e-com, lifetime value. And at the end of the day, everything that we just talked about helps with that lifetime value. And the reason why that is because when you're focusing heavily on advertising with your paid ads, those are great, right? It's very important that you run paid ads because that is going to be the fuel for your fire. That's how you send traffic to your site and allow yourself to collect those customers, and so you can own them with your email and SMS marketing. And so for paid ads, yeah, you need good creatives. Creatives is, at the end of the day, in 2026, the most important part of your advertising. But that creative realistically is going to be showing the most popular products that you're selling or the winning products that you're selling on your brand website. But what we also know about e-com is because of shipping cost, product cost, advertising cost, which are very high now, the profit is not in the first sale, it's in the second sale. So yeah, you're advertising this one product, and if the creative is pumping and if that ad is really doing well, they're going to go buy that product. But the problem is because you didn't collect them with email and SMS, you're never going to see that customer again, and you really didn't profit a whole lot on that first sale. And if you know anything about business or e-com, then you know that the big whales have what's called loss leaders. So they attract customers to the website, whether it's a very good deal and they're not making a whole lot of profit. Usually the reason it's called a loss leader is because they're losing profit. But their goal isn't to make profit on that first sale because they know you can't make profit on that first sale. They're trying to get ready for that second, that third, that fourth sale by setting up, collecting that customer, and then sending these out, these storytelling, building that emotional connection, that customer trust. And over time, if you keep sending these out and showcasing more products, or rather not telling them why they should like your brand, but showing them why they should like your brand, then over time, they're gonna fall in love not with the products, but with the brand. And that's exactly what we want, because then they're gonna love the products because it's your brand. So, lifetime value, this thing helps with that. Use it. All right, so next up after the storytelling email, we're gonna have the social proof email. Now this is kind of a no-brainer for a lot of people, but a lot of people just forget to do it, so I figured I'd throw it in this video. Now obviously we've already talked about customer trust a lot, but it's a very important part of e-com. The social proof is no different. In a world where everybody is skeptical about everything, especially online stores, social proof is a great way to eliminate that. So whether it be mentioning specific reviews that you've gotten on the product, like we did here, or showcasing pictures of other people in your product, both are great. Use both if possible. And there's really not a whole lot else to go over this email. Everybody really knows what a social proof email is and why it's so important. But something else that a lot of people don't think about with this is actually a deliverability first strategy as well, because these emails always have high engagement. People always like seeing what other people are talking about, because at the end of the day, the world is full of followers, not leaders. So people want to see other people on a brand or on a product before they take the risk. It's pretty sad, but it's true. And if you don't know what deliverability is with email marketing, go watch this video right here. In a nutshell, it's basically how you keep your emails and texts out of spam and in the primary inbox, or in front of the customer. Because if nobody's seeing your stuff, then your stuff isn't gonna work. All right, so the last email that we're gonna go over is something that really nobody thinks about. It's something that we kind of came up with, or we probably didn't come up with it, but I've never seen anybody else do it. So we have the segmenter email. And if you've seen any other of my YouTube videos, I talk about this email a lot because it's very powerful. If we think about what marketing is, not just email marketing, not just SMS marketing, all of marketing. What is marketing? I was thinking about just telling you, but then I realized I can just look it up on Google. This is the part right here that we're gonna focus on. Now there's a lot of other parts of marketing, but focusing on understanding the customer's needs. That's what we're gonna hone in on right here. If we go back to our Miro board, we have the segmenter email. The reason it's so important is because instead of trying to figure out what the customer needs, we're having the customer tell us what they need. And so for this specific brand, it's a gym brand, right? And I say it's a gym brand just because that's broad, but it's a little bit more than just a gym brand. They have strength supplements, they sell apparel, and so we can just call it a wellness brand. But the point is, they're selling a couple of different categories of stuff on their site. They have men's apparel, women's apparel, they have endurance and cardio supplements, they have health and wellness supplements, and they have strength and muscle supplements, right? So the thing that we're accomplishing here, again, going back to trying to understand the customer needs, if you send this out once a month or bi-weekly or whatever to your list of customers, we can send one campaign for this week. This one's gonna be next week. That one's gonna be the week after that. Instead of doing all that, we send one campaign with all of the things that we offer, and the customer, whatever they click on, one, it's gonna bring them to that specific collection of whatever the problem that this product is solving. But it's not only gonna take them to the page, what it's gonna do for us in the back end is it's gonna segment those customers. So if a customer's shopping for strength and muscle, we're gonna send them, or this is gonna automatically send them to that segment. So once they're in that specific segment, now that we have them in that specific segment, so for right here, for example, we have 5 different segments. Each of those segments, we can send out weekly campaigns to each of those segments separately. That might seem like a lot of work, but at the end of the day, it's so worth it because you're giving the people exactly what they're looking for, which is going to increase, one, engagement. So it's gonna help with deliverability, getting your emails in front of more people. It's gonna help with sales, profitability, lifetime value, customer trust. People are gonna wanna see your emails more and more. So this is very powerful. Everyone should be using this if you're not already. Use it for your e-com brand. It's going to do so much for you. And another thing this helps with, not everybody like to hear about this stuff. I'm gonna get a little nerdy on you. It's gonna help with also your profile bloat. So you're not spending money to house profiles when those profiles are never gonna look at your stuff again. I hope you guys got some good value in this video. Like I said, if you're an e-com brand, use these emails. They will help you so much. And at the end of the day, if you're an e-com brand, you're probably making the same mistake that everybody else is. Overlooking retention marketing, whether that be email marketing, SMS marketing, retention collection apps, everybody overlooks it. You need to stop treating your list like a newsletter and start treating it like the core business asset that it is, a 24/7 profit engine. Go check your stats right now. If you're not seeing at least 25 to 50% of your total revenue coming from email and SMS marketing, then you're leaving a ton of money on the table. Again, if you wanna hop on a call with me, go in the link in the description below and book a call. If you're not quite ready for a call, stay tuned. Keep using my knowledge, apply it to your e-com brand to help your retention marketing, and then thank me later. If you like business or if you're in business, you've probably heard of someone called Alex Hormozi. In this video right here, I go through his email marketing strategy and break down exactly why it actually works. I'll see you in the next one. Take care.